Hello, Gorgies. It's just a little bit after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is Tuesday. I had to think about what day it is. It's Tuesday. We are back from the beach very soon after we did day one of this program. My family and I traveled back. We're back in Georgia, so I'm back in my normal location, you'll notice in the background. And I'm so ready for this day. I'm so ready for it. I've been thinking about you ever since the first day one of this experience went live. Just have been thinking about it. I re-listened to it twice because day one is the setup for today. And I think day one was pretty easy in terms of a setup. It was light work, L-I-G-H-T. It was light work. But it was so important because so many people don't think about what they really want. And it means the world to be able to get back in touch with that. So day one was a thing. I've been thinking about you ever since then. I'm so ready for day two. So on day two, which is our final day of this workshop. So it's just day one and day two. On day two, I have a couple of asks. So my first ask is that you comment, blow the comments up for me, if you will, because Facebook has been giving a glitch where I can't see comments. And the faster and the more that you guys comment, the faster that they kick it on my side. And I really want to see your comments. So my first ask is that you comment. Let me know where you're watching from and whether you watched day one and participated. That's my first ask. My second ask is that you invite a friend here. I'm okay if you reserve the right to watch the entire experience before you bring a friend to this space. I know you want to trust the space, but if this workshop makes a difference in your life, I ask you to please bring a friend. And yes, I can see comments. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes. Perfect. My third ask is that you have a notebook or something handy. This is not just a masterclass. This is not just going to be a talking head of you getting talked at. I'm going to ask you to do some workshopping with me today. This is a very different approach. I want you to have something that you can write. We're going after clarity today. So my third ask is that you have something to write with. So as we're opening the experience, grab something to write with for me. And then my final thing is, just be informed that at the end of today, I'm going to be sharing 2 opportunities with you. For those of you who like this kind of work and you want to do it on a deeper level, I am all about transparency in business, and I like to know when an offer is coming. So I also like to inform people when an offer is coming. There will be 2 opportunities at the end of this video. And if you don't want to listen to them, you can exit. But if you want to listen to them, you can stay. Just being informed. Okay. And Belinda, hi. I see Mary, Haley, Belinda, Tanya, Rick Hanley, Ruth Ann Voss, Suzanne Hanley. Yes. Welcome you all. Jesse from Team XMH, Tirza, Crystal from Canada, Tahani. Perfect. All right. So let's kick it off. This workshop was called Emotionally Regulated AF. Y'all know what AF stands for. Regulated as fill in the blank. I thought it would get people's attention to be emotionally regulated AF. Is anyone else having that problem? Courtney says the screen keeps blanking green. Facebook Lives have been on one. They have been tripping ever since the Threads app opened by Meta. You'll also notice, this is a side note before we do the whole training. A side note, when you come back to watch a replay inside of a Facebook group, a lot of different Facebook groups are experiencing this right now, where you can't click to expand the video and fast forward. It gives you an error message. Yeah, it's lame. So our team has also uploaded yesterday's training to YouTube. If you're having any issues with the replay, it's there for you. Today's will also go on YouTube as a replay if there's any issue. Team XMH, will you do me a favor, babes? And will you put the link to our YouTube channel for yesterday? Will you put it in the guide section for everyone and pin it to the top of the group, just in case anyone has any replay issues? Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get back into emotionally regulated AF. Okay, what does it mean? I'm a big fan of emotional intelligence work, frequency work, using your whole body holistically in business. Huge fan. This workshop being dedicated to entrepreneurs, I want to bring definition to this word, emotionally regulated. What does it mean? What does it not mean? Just in case it's a newer concept to people. You'll know what I mean as soon as I read it. Emotional dysregulation can look like. So if you're live, right, emotional dysregulation. We're going to give it a definition. Being emotionally dysregulated can look like the feeling of overstimulation. Do you ever feel that? The phone buzzes, it dings, it vibrates, it lights up. Someone's trying to talk to you at the same time. Multiple things are playing in the background around your house. Maybe the TV is on. There's too many pieces of stimulation around you. Too many things fighting for your attention. And the human goes haywire. That's emotional dysregulation. So overstimulation is a big one, and it's rampant in entrepreneurs. If there are any of you who feel this a lot in this season, or you know what I mean, you can put your hand up in the comments. So give me a hand emoji in the chat. Emotional dysregulation can also look like reactivity. You're overly reactive. Small things set you off. You have a long day of overstimulation, and then something that's like a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 of seriousness just makes you blow a gasket. You burn the dinner and you just want to cry. I mean, burning the dinner's not that big of a deal, but you're overly reactive over small things. If you have experienced that, can you give me the fire emoji for reactivity? Small things blowing you up. Emotional dysregulation can also look like being frequently frustrated. At the Clear to Soar conference and in programs like Iconic, I talk about the fact that people have what's called an emotional set point. It's the average of like 300 points of emotion that people typically live in. What I notice with entrepreneurs is that a lot of them live around the frequency of frustration. They wake up and they already feel behind. And it's like a rat race throughout the day to like try to get ahead. And they generally just feel frustrated. Emotional dysregulation can look like feeling frustrated frequently. It's like you're normal. Like pretty much every day you feel frustrated about something. If you know it, if you know that feeling deeply in the chat, can you give me like, what emoji does that? Give me like a frustrated face emoji. If you can find the emojis on your phone, give me like the frustrated face. Give me a frustrated face in the chat if you frequently feel frustrated. That's a lot of F's. Emotional dysregulation can also look like heart racing out of nowhere, tightness in your jaw, your body, a really busy mind. You can give me the brain emoji. If you feel like you have a busy mind, you go to lay down, you go to close your eyes, you try to sit and be in the presence of people that you love, and your mind just won't stop going. People that you really love and you're trying to be in conversation with, you're trying to give your full attention to. They're talking and your mind is a million miles away, just busy. You can give me the brain emoji if that happens to you. Just a busy mind, right? Emotional dysregulation can also look like overwhelm. Just generally feeling like you can't catch up, like there's too many irons in the fire, right? It can look like not being able to focus. There's a deadline to hit. There are 5 things that you would like to do, and your mind just won't settle and focus on it because your emotions are just running rampant. Emotional dysregulation can also look like tiredness. If that happens to you, give me a sleepy face in the comments. If you frequently feel fatigue, your emotions and your nervous system, they're upregulated. They're up. You're in the sympathetic. You're just, right? And it just makes you tired. It can look like frequent crying, which crying is so healthy. But when you cry every day, or you cry several days a week over being frustrated or too busy or distracted or overstimulated, this is not great. And a final characteristic of emotional dysregulation in entrepreneurs is wanting to throw in the towel. Just wanting to quit. Wanting, like it can look like fantasizing about shutting the doors of your business, burning it down, disappearing to an island, going off grid, just disappearing entirely. Fantasizing about blowing your business up. If this happens to you, can you give me a bomb? Who's going to be the brave one and say that they've fantasized about this? About 5 years ago, I fantasized about this near daily. Thank God I don't feel like that anymore. These are all characteristics of emotional dysregulation, aka having a dysregulated nervous system. Woo-wee. And it's rampant in entrepreneurs. So many of not just, here's the thing, I don't want to call anyone out. Not at all. Hi, Sarah, good to see you. And I also don't want to make it seem like my clients are the only people that experience this, because they're not. What I have noticed is across not only my own client base, but also amongst other entrepreneurs that I'm speaking with, and even my peers who are $1 million and multi-million dollar makers, they are experiencing levels of deep emotional dysregulation about their brands, but they don't say much about it because they're in a place of leadership and it wouldn't look great for them. So if you're feeling this stuff and you're going like, man, I had 7 out of 10 of those. I don't know if there's actually 10. I want you to know you're very normal. This is very common. And I also don't think that you got into entrepreneurship to feel like this, right? And that's why we're doing this workshop, to get some clarity, to clear some things, okay? So let's talk about the opposite. Being emotionally regulated looks very different. When I asked you all on day 1 how you perceive myself, my team, our brand, how do you perceive us? I asked you to give me 3 words that come up when you think of us, when you think of me, when you think of my content in the last several months. And a lot of the words that came up, they had signs and characteristics of being emotionally regulated. The things that you described were on brand with being emotionally regulated. So let's dialogue this out. When you are emotionally regulated AF, it looks like having clearness of purpose. Knowing clearly, what's my purpose? Being emotionally regulated looks like having a sense of calm. Even in a crisis, you're not overreacting. You're just pretty calm. You're not freaking out. You're going, okay, how do we solve this? That's emotional regulation. Being emotionally regulated also looks like having the ability to communicate your ideas. It's characterized by a spirit of collaboration. How many of you can think of someone right now who is not emotionally regulated and they have a hard time talking to people? They have a hard time saying what they need. They have a hard time speaking up when they need help. They have a hard time with boundaries, and it manifests in conflict and arguments. Right? You can picture the person, but if they were to tap into more root work, which is the point of this workshop, they would have the branches, the fruit, the outcome of being able to communicate with a team. They would have the desire to collaborate with people. They would have a higher sense of trust. You follow me? More characteristics of being emotionally regulated. It looks like joy. Not just happy, but joy. Gratitude. Gratitude for what is. Appreciation. Joy. Not just blips of happiness, but literally happy joy. Being emotionally regulated looks like satisfaction with the job well done. When you're emotionally regulated, you can think back on your day and you can feel satisfaction. It's not a feeling of what didn't I get done and what are the 10 things on the list that still didn't happen. It's satisfaction for what did happen. It's satisfaction in a job well done. I want to tell you a quick story. This last weekend when we were down at the beach, we went for ice cream. Now that is Sloan's happy place. There's a chain of ice cream shops called Brewster's, and almost every day of her life, Sloan asks, can we go to Brewster's? Now, we don't take her every day. It's tempting, but we don't. And we have a couple of deals that we make with our 3.5, almost 4-year-old. One of the deals, and this is going to tell you a lot about my parenting style. I do not edit myself with my kids, and neither does my husband. We speak to them as if they are micro adults. And there's not too much that's off limits unless it's not appropriate for their age. Now, whenever we go for Brewster's, we tell our daughter that we have a deal. So if you're live, right? A deal. A deal. So with our 3.5-year-old Sloan, when we go for Brewster's, the deal is if you get sugar, because they don't eat very much sugar. They don't eat sugar. They don't eat high fructose corn syrup. They don't eat food dyes. They just don't eat things like that. So we go to this Brewster's place because it's handmade with real milk and whatever. We don't give them any of the dyes, right? So the deal is if you get ice cream, the deal is no being an asshole. No being an asshole. And we will ask Sloan, okay, Sloan, if we go to Brewster's, what's the deal? And she said, don't be an asshole. This happens every time that we go to Brewster's. And my husband also says, and what do we say? Now, I didn't approve of this message. I came home from a trip one time, and this was very funny. My husband was holding Maeve and talking to Sloan, and he said, all right, guys, so what do we say? And Maeve said, no more whiny bitches. Okay, I did not bring that one into the terminology. That was my husband. I blame him for that one. But anyways, that's our second deal. No being an asshole. And what else do we say? No more whiny bitches. Okay, cool. We can have ice cream. So we take the girls to have ice cream. Exactly. When we get dirty pillows at Mexican, we also have that deal with babies because they have sugar. We go for ice cream. And Sloan had a little bit extra. She had a couple bites of mine on top of what she normally has, which is like a tiny amount for kids. And we overdid it on the sugar. And I felt tremendously guilty as a parent because I knew that I did this to her. Her body isn't used to sugar. This is not a regular occurrence. And so she had her ice cream, her little bit, and then she had some of mine. And I think all that sugar was just making her a little bit wild in the car. I had asked Brad if we would go for a drive down the beach because I wanted to see more of the scenery. And that meant we were going to be in the car for an hour. And Sloan is in the back seat, just whining, and asking, when are we going back to the beach house? I wanted to take a bath. I wanted to be in the bath with my bubbles. I wanted to be at the beach house where we go. I wanted to play with my toys in the sand. When are we going to go back to the beach house? When are we going home? I want to go home to my own toy box. It was just demand after demand after demand after demand, and crying and whining. She was so frustrated. And I'm trying to reason with her. And it reminded me of this concept, and it reminded me of God, and it reminded me of humanity. As I'm trying to reason with my child in the back seat who is freaking out, I said, Sloan, we are on a drive right now. We're looking. Look out the window. See the trees. Notice the clouds. See the sky. Just look outside and enjoy the moment. We're at the beach. Just be here. I kept on saying that to her. Just be here. But she was so anxious to be in the next location that she ruined the whole car ride. Now, I take responsibility that I gave my child too much sugar and I put her in a state of emotional dysregulation. But as adults, I sense that this is what we do. We don't take stock of what is. There isn't a high level of satisfaction with what we already had that day. There is not a cognizant, intentional appreciation. There's not a gratitude for everything that you did do right already. If you had a list of 10 things that you wanted, you're not focused on the 3 things and like the doneness of them. You're not focused in on, oh my gosh, I got 3 out of my 10. There's no satisfaction in what you've already done. There's a focus on where you're not yet. And it ruins the whole journey. And as I'm coaching my kid in the car and saying to her, baby, just be here. Look, it's awesome. Look out the window. It's incredible. She's just losing her little marbles. Isn't that like us? Isn't that like entrepreneurship? Isn't that like us to have a goal in mind and hit 3 out of our 10 and still be unsatisfied and go to bed upset because you didn't get the other 7 that day? Is there anyone who felt that? Are you ruining the journey by not having gratitude for what you already crushed? Are you letting emotional dysregulation rob you of the satisfaction of entrepreneurship? If you can see that in you, that you're so focused on what you don't have yet and where you wanted to be right now, and you're letting it ruin your life, don't you think it's time for a change? So if it is, write down in the chat, ready for the change. I like to tell stories to bring it full circle, and I just felt so in the moment with my little baby. I was like, oh my God, this is what adults do when they have goals. Right? Okay. More characteristics of being emotionally regulated are feelings of, it's the satisfaction with a job well done. On the way. It's certainty about where you're going. It's restfulness. When you're emotionally regulated, you're not just getting driven nonstop by what isn't yet. You allow yourself restfulness. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. You, your life, your goals, your life purpose, it's a marathon. You want to rest. You want to recover in between training, okay? Emotional regulation looks like having your priorities. It looks like resilience. It looks like the ability to bounce back fast when things go awry. I shared yesterday a couple of places where just things didn't go according to plan. But you don't see me out here going like, I'm just going to cancel. I'm canceling everything. I'm not doing it anymore. Like, you don't see me doing that, right? Because yes, things can go awry, but you regulate, I regulate, and I bounce back fast. Because I know where I'm going. There's this certainty that drives me. I'm so deeply rooted in where I'm going and why I'm doing it that when things don't go right, it's like, okay, let my human calm down, but we're not pulling the plug on this. We're staying plugged in. We might go do some things for self-care, but we're definitely not going to spiral, and we're definitely not going to pull the plug, right? We know where we're going. And that gives you the ability to bounce back fast. A couple more signs that someone is really emotionally regulated is that they have a peacefulness, they have willingness, they're willing to try, they're willing to do a workshop, they're willing to journal, they're willing to do the exercise, they're willing. And you can see contentment on them, on the journey. Okay. So all that sounds great in theory, but if you aren't currently walking in that, it's like, oh, well, that sucks. I don't have that yet. And in my experience, I think that most people get into business. Okay, so who's an entrepreneur in here? Put entrepreneur if you are. Put it in the chat, right? Hashtag entrepreneur. If you are an entrepreneur, most people get into business for themselves because what they think in their head is, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to run my own show. No one's going to tell me what to do. And when we think of high-level entrepreneurs who have, quote unquote, made it, right? We picture someone who is emotionally regulated. We picture the person who has joyfulness, calm, clearness of purpose. They walk in the room and their shoulders are up and they know where they're going. They have a spirit of collaboration. They're content. They're grateful. They're collaborative, right? We think about entrepreneurs like the high level people, and that's what comes to mind. So a lot of people get into entrepreneurship because they know deep inside, they know somehow, some way that entrepreneurship is the golden ticket to having emotional regulation, or at least the cash to be emotionally regulated. Like deep down, we know that. Deep down, every entrepreneur knows in their core that having more wealth is a golden ticket to an emotionally regulated life, because the more resources you have, the more time you have, and the more time you have, the more calm you have, and the more calm you have, the more purpose you have. People deeply know that more money gives them this sense, you know? And so people become entrepreneurs. But they mostly experience the first list. The journey there is everything that we listed first. It's overstimulation, it's reactivity, it's frustration, heart racing, distracted, overwhelmed, not able to focus, relationship suffering, right? And so many entrepreneurs that I know of personally right now, including a lot of my colleagues, it's like they're revamping their businesses. They're throwing in the towel because they're saying, I didn't get into entrepreneurship to feel like this. I thought I signed up for this emotionally regulated life, and the journey there does not feel like that. So what am I doing wrong? And so it takes them into branch work, which we talked about yesterday. They look at what is. They go, I don't like my branding. I don't like my copy. I don't like my offers. I don't like my house. I don't like my relationship. I don't like. And they go after the branches of their life. They attack the fruit. They attack their branches. They start cutting things off and pruning. But it's a root problem. Is that landing? The frustrations in your everyday life, a lot of the emotional dysregulation, it's branch stuff in your head. It's what can you see that you can go attack. But having that mindset of going to attack your branches and attack your fruit keeps you emotionally dysregulated. Are you tracking? Branch work doesn't solve root work problems. So let's go deeper on this. Let's go even deeper, okay? So people know that entrepreneurship, it can lead to more emotional regulation. And so they go after it. Statistically, entrepreneurship and knowing how to sell, statistically, those two things are the fastest track for financial independence. And so people become entrepreneurs, right? Exactly, Haley, that's wild. But with entrepreneurs, what I see is a lot of dysregulation, a lot of emotional turmoil, and because they have more money and they are the boss, they start doing a lot of self-care. So whenever they get frustrated, overwhelmed, want to fire their team, want to quit their marriage, whenever the throw in the towel vibe comes in, whenever they're overstimulated and overdone, they take that feeling and they stick a Band-Aid on it. And the Band-Aid is called self-care. Now, I am the first person to tell you, and all of my clients will tell you, that I see self-care as foundational for a company. But if you haven't done root work, you're just sticking a Band-Aid on your emotional dysregulation and calling it a day. Okay? Band-Aid approaches to a lack of roots doesn't solve the problem. Getting another massage, going for a facial, taking another vacation, right? Scheduling a date night, like all these different things are branch work. They're branch Band-Aids, and they don't help a root problem. Is it landing? There is a point where Band-Aid approaches are not going to resolve this stuff, okay? So let's go back to day one. We have the what do you want exercise. If you did it, right, I did it. I asked you guys to sit down and literally ask yourself for 20 minutes, what do you want? This is root work. What do you actually want? What do you really want? I threw in a couple other questions like, what would you do if nobody was paying you? And what are you naturally good at? Because those are vehicles to get what you want. Yes, I see a lot of people who said, I did it. I'm curious, after about minute 15, did you get some big old clarity? On timelines on what you actually really desire to do versus what you're currently doing? I did this work before I asked you to do it on the weekend, and I was astounded. I was astounded at some things that I decided that I wanted and put a timeline on it. It's like, whoa, I can't wait for that one. We're going. we're going to move everything out of the way that is not that, and we're going, baby. Okay. Rick said, high clarity. Yes. Perfect. That's the root. What are you here for? Where are you trying to go? What are you great at that you could monetize? Your mind starts taking subconscious or unconscious action when you entertain these kind of thoughts, because while you sleep and in the background during the day, your brain is tinkering through, man, if we really wanted that, how could it happen? You're not even actively thinking about it anymore. You're giving your subconscious mind that problem to solve. So as long as you keep these things in front of you, so write this down, I'll keep this in front of me, keep this list in front of you, and you come back and look at it on a regular basis, it's going to employ your subconscious mind to start making it happen and to actually draw resources, things, and people to you to make the thing happen. Isn't that wild? Another crazy thing was I asked you to partner up with people. How many people have a buddy for this? If you did, write buddy. And if you don't have one, you can write I need a buddy. Watch this. There are so many human behavior studies that show that, number one, people who actually have a list of goals, of things that they desire and that they're headed for, right? If you have a list, number one. Number two, you revisit it daily. Revisit it daily. And number three, you have someone else who knows about it and you touch base weekly. Those are the people who have the most tremendous levels of success. If there's even one piece missing, the success rate drops by like 30 to 60%. So here's some tangibles that you can do. Number one, keep that list in front of you. What do you really want? What are you good at? What would you do if nobody was paying you? Keep that list front and center. Keep it in your phone. Look at it on a daily basis. You can write it down and put it someplace in your house that you look at every day. That's number one. Have the list, revisit it as number two. Number three, have somebody that knows about it. And four, check in with them weekly and tell them what's happening. This skyrockets your success rates and your resolve and your ability to bounce back when things don't go as planned. Reminds you to keep the course. Reminds you that, yes, you can take really good care of your human being, but you're not going to pull the plug because you know where you're going. You have a deep reason for going there. You're not just being heavily influenced by what other people say is important. You have your own ethos. You have your own code. You have your own purpose. And anything that doesn't match up with that just doesn't get to come. Day one is setting you up for a massive, massive day two. So if you did it, I'm very, very, very proud of you. Because this is the beginning of some root work. So if you're live right now, write belief. B-E-L-I-E-F, belief. Belief. My own story with doing root work was that I had a coach at one time that told me to write a list of like 100 things that I really wanted to do. It took time. It took me a couple days actually to write that whole list out. We're going to be doing a version of this, but a deep dive blueprint badass version of this at Clear to Soar. We're going to do like a whole day session on this type of stuff. A lot of people can't get to 100 goals because they don't have the belief that they could even have it anyways. I had a coach at one time that told me to just start writing out the things that I wanted, and they could be so simple. They suggested if you have all worn out socks and underwear in your drawer, and you wear worn out socks and underwear every day because you haven't prioritized buying, fresh, beautiful socks and underwear, that you could write on your list, I would like some lingerie and a fresh packet or 5 of socks. And I was like, that's a dumb goal. But stuff like that made the list because it was a distraction on a daily basis that made me dysregulated. Putting on underwear that I didn't like to wear on a regular basis was something that was just like dysregulating my mind. And it was like part of my to-do list that I just never seemed to get to. So I wrote down everything. And then we started putting it into priority of what I would actually want to do in the coming year. In the coming year. Now, Tony Robbins says that people drastically overestimate what they can do in a year, and they completely underestimate what they can do in 10. I agree with that. But my take on this is people drastically underestimate what they should be doing in the next 6 months if they want any of that to happen. So I want you to start taking that list that you had from yesterday of what do I want and start putting priority on it. What things seem tangible and imminent that you could do today? What things feel like it really matters that I do something about this in the next 3 months? Because if I don't do this in the next 3 months, I can't expect anything to happen in 6, and it's definitely not going to materialize in the next 12 months. I find that sometimes people even call a year like a wash halfway through. For example, as entrepreneurs, you can pull your numbers of, what have I done so far in the first 6.5 months of the year? And if you are even a skosh behind where you were last year, you can go it's a wash. That's called pulling the plug. It's called frustrated, overwhelmed, emotionally dysregulated. That's called lack of purpose, lack of clarity, lack of vision, lack of purpose for what you're doing, lack of knowing where you're going and why, lack of a root. When you're not rooted, every wave that washes in and out will move you. Every time that things go sideways, you're moved. You wobble. You wonder why you're even out here in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Until you get rooted. So people give up on goals. Courtney says, even first quarter, right? You have a goal to lose 40 pounds. You don't make any moves in the first quarter and you go, that was a dumb goal. When really your body might be recalibrating to have everything that you want that year, but you pull the plug. I can tell you with so much certainty and evidence that with our companies, usually the first half of the year is not where we make the most magic. It's the back half. We've had years that started with a $20,000 month where we hit 960, almost $1 million. Do you hear me? So much can happen in 6 months, but people just underestimate what 6 months can be. 6 months is huge. It doesn't matter if you start it in the back half of the year. So I want you to understand that you are at a doorway. You are at a threshold for the back half of the year that you get to decide. Where are you going? Why are you doing it? Being deeply rooted in that and taking things off of your plate that don't align with it. I'm like so on fire about this. Does anyone else feel it the way that I'm feeling it? It's like, oh my God, the possibilities are endless. And I could throw away a half a year if I'm not careful. Or the back half of the year could be the best half a year that I've ever had. Financially, personally, with my family, with my body. That comes from rootedness, not attacking the branches. I got more. Woo! So fun, so fun, so fun. So I asked you guys about the word belief. I asked you to write the word belief. Now, when this mentor had said to me, write down 100 things that you would want, I was in the midst of several thousands of people who also did this exercise, and I don't know what happened to their lists. I really don't. But as I got in tune with my list of what I wanted, I decided to create a belief. And this was where the year of magic came through. The year of magic. Again, too many people won't make goals because deeply they don't even believe that they can have them. So they say, I don't know. They're making goals. They're creating their future from their past. People try to craft a future out of what they think was already possible in the past. They craft their goals based on where they failed in the past, what didn't work last time, the weight loss that they tried before, the relationship that failed in the past, honestly, the miscarriage that they had before. Their belief is about what's happened in the past. And so they try and create a future, not from the future, but from the past. It doesn't work. You've got to create a future from the future, not from what you already know. This requires belief. Now, what is a belief? A belief is honestly a choice. And that is going to rock some people that have had big disappointments. It's going to sound mean and insensitive. And Xtina, how could you say that? How could you say that my belief is just a choice? Well, it is. Because what is a belief? A belief is just a thought that you think over and over and over again. That's all a belief is. A belief is just a thought that you think over and over and over again. Write this down. My beliefs are just the thoughts I've thought over and over and over again. My beliefs are just the thoughts I've thought over and over and over again. So your beliefs are a choice because you get to choose what you think about. So knowing that, I inserted a belief, and my belief became, what if I had a year of magic? That's the thing that I just started thinking about over and over and over again. What if I believed, and this is crucial for me because I came from a background of faith, what if I believed that God loved me tremendously? What if I believed that I was a really, really, really good person? What if I believed that I had a really good heart? What if I believed that I came here to change things? What if I believed that I could change the world? What if I believed that I was made for impact? What if I believed that every hard thing that ever happened to me was gonna make an effect on the world for the positive? What if I believed that I was meant for everything that was on my dreams list? What if I believed that I was supported deeply? What if I believed that God, angels, synchronicities, my ancestors, and every good resource actually was going to support a year of magic for me, and whatever I put my fingers to would turn to gold? What if I just made up a belief and let it be that I was going to have a magic year, and whatever I tried for, I would just get it? I would have to do the aligned actions for sure, but what if I just believed that this was my year of magic? Well, I tell you what, I have now expanded my belief that I am beyond my year of magic, and now I'm living in a 5-year magic bubble and a magic decade. I chose to believe that the things that were on my list of desires of what do I really want were all going to materialize as I took the right steps towards them. I chose to believe that I had a year of magic and that anything that I tried for would have to materialize some way or another. Would you be willing to change your beliefs from what's happened back there to I'm stepping into my year of magic? I'm stepping into my purpose. I'm stepping into my power. I'm so supported. This can all work out. This can all work out. It's all happening for me. I just have to show up for it. I know where I'm going. Like, would you adopt the year of magic? I am completely serious with this question right now. Would you adopt the year of magic? Would you write it across your bathroom mirror? This is what I did. At the beginning of probably 2022, I wrote down, what if I had a year to get it all? What would I do? It lit a fire under me because I wasn't thinking so much about 5 years, which probably would have been a little bit healthier. I was just like, what if I just believed that I had a year to get it all? What things would I actually focus on? And here's where the emotional regulation part drops in. Would it bother me if some internet troll was like making fun of my content? No. I'm in my magic year. I'm going after this thing. Would it deeply bother me if my relatives didn't like how much I talked about money? I would notice it, but I freaking wouldn't stop. Would I get all discombobulated when I had an unexpected expense? No. I would pay it and I would keep moving because I'm certain that we're like 10xing that money. Who cares? Would I freak out if I burn the vegetables? Probably not. Would I lose my mind and scream and cry when I had plans on the weekend and my child needs more attention and help because they have fever? No, I'd be there with my kid. I'd be present. Would I throw the towel in? Would I unplug? Because something from my past came back to confront me. And it's obvious that's going to keep on happening the bigger that I get. No. I'm going to go sit in my car and cry for a minute and call my girlfriends. But I'm not stopping. I'm not giving up. I have a path. I believe that I'm supported. So would you believe in a year of magic for you? This is the root work that creates branches, the fruit that everybody wants. They want to feel confident. They want to feel clear. They want to be collaborative. They want to know how to trust people. They want to experience more satisfaction and joy in their businesses. But if you don't have this root work down, who are you? Why are you doing what you're doing? What are you going after? What's your purpose? If you're not rooted in that, everything's going to knock you off your block. So serious question. Will you take a Sharpie and write it on your bathroom mirror? What would I do with a year of magic? If this was my year of magic where everything could happen, what would I try for? If I knew that I had a year of magic, just one good year, what would I be focusing on? So in the chat, if you'll do it, right, I believe in my year of magic. I'll wait. I'll just wait. Take a second and decide. Because it's just a belief. It's just a thought I chose to think over and over and over again. It resulted in $1 million year. From January 1st to January 1st, it was $960,000. Oh, cry. Go cry my Land Rover with my $100 bills that I missed it by 40 grand. Who cares? 11 days later, we hit the $1 million. So from January 11th of last year to January 11th of this year, we hit the $1 million, and we have maintained or exceeded the $1 million ever since. When you pull our reports, it's over $1 million for the last 365, and we're scaling. Because I'm like, I'm having more years of magic. I'm having another year of magic right freaking now. Awesome. Awesome. I see Rick. He says, I believe in my year of magic. Haley, I believe in my year of magic. Amy, I believe in my year of magic. Suzanne Hanley, I believe in my year of magic. Dana, yes, I believe I'm in my year of magic. Yes. Tahani, I believe in my year of magic. Amy says, couldn't come on a better day for me. Courtney, I believe in my year of magic. I love you, Courtney, for saying this comment section is quiet. Yes. Myra, Belinda, yes. Yeah, Sarah, I do know how. Just ask Jessie. She knows. She figured it out. Michelle said, I believe in my year of magic. Rachel, Lynn Masters, I believe in my year of magic. Sarah, I believe in my year of magic. Yes, entering your magical era. Listen, Cheryl, I believe in my year of magic. So it was just a belief. It was just a belief. I just believed it. I'm having a year of magic. I choose to believe that everything that I try for is going to be ultra, super, duper, duper blessed. And I'm going to get everything that I want or better. And I'm going to try for it. I just went for it. It was like the year of yes. But it started with the root work of what do I even want? What do I want? Okay, cool. In what order? And what is the pathway to make that happen? What am I good at that I can monetize? Do I need to raise my prices? How I'm currently pricing, does it end up creating that magic that I want, or do I have to change something? Am I selling and doing stuff that I hate? Right? These are the root work questions that lead to such huge fruit and big branches. And what I see with the branch thing is that people are out there like not having the fruit that they want. And so I don't know if you've ever seen these reels before, but like how the HOA will go to people's yards. Do you know what a HOA is? When you live in a community that has certain standards for the aesthetics, and the HOA will go to people's houses and they'll spray paint the dead bushes green. Have you ever seen this? That's aesthetic branch work. This is what I see people doing in their businesses. They're deeply freaking unhappy. They're not on a trajectory to get what they want. Everything is shaking them and moving them. You know, they're off their path. They're reactive, and they're out here spray painting the bushes so that they can keep up with appearances. And I want to tell you, it's okay to make things look nice, but that's branch work. The roots of it are, who are you? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Is there stuff that you do on a daily basis because you don't know who you are? Is there mindless, time-consuming, stressful stuff that you are occupying your life with because you don't know what you want? When you don't have an identity, you will work for other people, you will listen to other people, and you will let other people tell you who you are, what you want, and what you should have. I don't mean to demean anyone who works for other people, because that's not the point. What I'm saying is, when you don't know where you're going, other people will give you a direction. And for some of us, that has been the bulk of our lives. I didn't awaken from this until I was 34 and 38 now. I had the first 34 years of my life of other people telling me who I am, what I want, what I'm going to do, how much I should have, how loud I should be, what I should ask for, what I should do with my free time. The last 4 years of my life have been when freedom came in. And interestingly, this is when a lot of you guys showed up because I had some badass branches and you were like, what the fuck is that? I want branches like that. Okay, this is the root work. So get out your paper. Get out your paper. Get it out. Get it out. Get it out. Right across the top, I believe in my year of magic. This belief is your choice. It's nothing but a thought that you're going to think over and over and over again. This is my year of magic. Okay. The ability to be emotionally regulated AF. In the midst of unexpected delays, in the midst of expenses, in the midst of situations that you couldn't have predicted, the ability to stay rooted comes from knowing your identity. Where are you headed? Why are you after this? Why are you working towards this? What do you want and where are you going? This matters, okay? I want to disclose that we're going to be doing 3 days of this type of work at Clear to Soar in August. So this 2 days is like a micro sneak peek of what the whole entire weekend is going to feel like. This is a tiny slice of the huge pie. If you're live, right, a tiny slice. This is a tiny slice. Clear to Soar is going to be this on steroids. In the best way. Okay? I want to have you divide your sheet. Give me quadrants. So take your sheet and give me quadrants. Like draw like a cross through it. And we're going to workshop this a little bit. It's interesting right now in the coaching industry, which I am so here for, and I agree with so much of it, that emotional regulation and the way that it's presented today, it's often branch work. It's external. It's working on, it's going out and polishing the fruit. It's spray painting the branches. It's Band-Aids and it's cover-ups, right? So when I created this workshop about emotional regulation, I think a lot of people probably thought that it was going to be me encouraging everyone to just do more deep breathing and do more meditation, which I believe in. I think a lot of people thought that I was going to give them a list of stuff to do, like go for a walk, treat yourself to a shopping excursion, have more leisure, make a nice meal, take a nap, schedule a massage, etc. Did any of you guys expect that? Emotionally regulated, did you think that that's what I was going to tell you all to do? As I tell clients to do this kind of stuff, I want to say that all of that is maintenance. Everything that I just said, deep breathing, meditation, a walk, going shopping, leisure, a nice meal, a nap, a massage, that is maintenance of the human vessel to live your gift. All of that is maintenance of the human vessel to live your gift, but it's not root work, it's branch work. So let's go root. When you are rooted, when you have a foundation, when all of this is a lot more clear, not much will knock you off your block. I have said this And like, I'm careful about when I say it because I feel like the more attention you give something, like you can call it in. But honestly, I deeply sense that if someone who I loved died, I would probably still want to work. Because my mission is so big. And the why I'm doing what I'm doing is so big. My roots are so deep. Not a lot can shake me. Things that throw most overstimulated entrepreneurs off their game don't deeply impact me. I might wobble, but we're here. That's rootedness. That's the point of this. So let's grab your paper and let's solidify. In the top left corner, I want you to take that list of what you said you wanted. Like, what do you really, 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 really want? And in the top left corner, I want you to take 5 of them and write them out as priority for the next 6 months. Not the next year, because if you wait to make it the next year, it might not happen. So top left quadrant, I want you to put 5 things that seem pretty imminent and important. Put them in your top left quadrant for the next 6 months. Which means you want to get moving on that like now. Like today is not too soon. Drop it in. 5 things that you really want. Time sensitive. That would make your dreams come true. 5 things. Top left corner. Go. When you've got them, if you feel brave to share, drop your 5 things in the chat. Till a couple comments come through. So just know that there's not a rush. Write your 5 things on your top left quadrant. And if you feel bold enough to share, you can drop your 5 things in the chat. About 60 more seconds. Nothing. Courtney, no, not today. It's not raining today. However, it is darker in here than usual. One of the things that I really desire is we're doing a build and I want to have a ton of skylights. There's a certain designer that I found about 1.5 years ago, and I put the deposit down back then to work with this person to design our house because I love their use of light. Like they build the entire blueprint around the way that light moves through a property during the day. And I love maximizing light. So the place that we live in right now, there are no skylights. And actually our bedroom is on the west side of the house. So most of the light comes in from the east during the day. So I have to there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 lights on in this space right now, and it looks like it's raining. Isn't that wild? So I get to change it. Woo! That's on my list. Okay. Sarah Jordan said 5 private clients. Yes. Sedona with my sister. 20K months on lock. A kitchen in her bus. Bliss and awe at her life. I love that. Amy said, get a new business started, take my family to a national park, put 40 pounds of home-raised meat in my freezer, take better care of myself, go on a date with my husband without kids at least once a month. Yes. It's staticky. Is it staticky right now? Is it staticky when I'm talking? Let me know. Because I have sound, what do you call it? I have sound emphasis in this video. I forget what it's called. But is it staticky when I'm talking? Like right now? Or is it still? Let me know. It was when I was taking a break. Yeah. Perfect. Oh, okay. It sounded like rain. That's why you asked. Okay, perfect. Okay. So top left corner, we got it, but not when I'm speaking. Perfect. There's a setting. Actually, any video content creator should know about this. There is a setting on Facebook Lives. For me, using iOS, it's in the bottom right corner before you go live. You can click, it's like your little hamburger symbol. It's the 3 bars. You can click that and you can do minimize background noise and enhance voice. So when I'm not talking, it's trying to pick something up. That's why. Okay, cool. I like these. Okay, so these are all desires that you want, okay? On the right top quadrant, I want you to write out what are possible vehicles for this to happen. This is where reverse engineering, this is where deductive reasoning starts to work. This is where you get a vision for your company. If you're going to go to Mexico, take a girlfriend trip, take your kids to the beach, have 6-figure months and start writing a book, okay, on the right-hand top quadrant, I want you to write out what are possible vehicles for this to happen. Is there something that you're good at that you would do anyways if no one was going to pay you, that you could monetize and turn into a business? Is there already a current business that you're part of that needs actually some fresh breath, some fresh wind in the sails, a revamp of oh, dang, we're not actually maximizing the potential of this. There's a better program, there's a better offering, there's a better experience. If I really put some heart and soul into this and treated this like the vehicle that it is, what would happen? So what are some vehicles that could bring these dreams to life? As you start to write in your top right-hand quadrant, I'm going to expound on this a little bit. When I knew that I was going after $1 million a year, I thought about everything that I love to do, right? And I started to ask myself, what are the vehicles for this to happen? And here's what I knew. We already had a series of programs for entrepreneurs that I loved to teach. And so I was already dedicated to being there and doing that time with those clients anyways. So one of the best things that I could have done is maximize how much I was talking about that space, locked and loaded. Right? So there are some of you who already have a business, you already have a job, you already have a corporation, you already have offers, but you're not maximizing that vehicle. You're not getting loud enough about it. You haven't developed it out as much as it could be. And so it's like you've got a Porsche in your driveway and you don't know how to drive it. You're not maximizing its potential. You're driving it like a Honda because you're like, I don't really know what this could do. So like, we'll just drive it and see what happens. Versus, I want to win the race. Let me actually maximize this vehicle that I have. Does that make sense? The vehicle analogy? So when I wrote out okay, here's what I want. I want my mountain property. I want to go on trips to the beach. I want to take my mom to the beach. I want diamond earrings, which I got. I wanted all these different things. I started to ask myself, what are the vehicles to get there? And what I realized was I wasn't spending enough time on Locked and Loaded, and there were some things that we could do better there, such as in-person retreats. So my team and I added in-person retreats to the Locked and Loaded experience. Phenomenal retreats, just by the way. I asked myself if I wanted to make a global change and I wanted to be a part of women's empowerment and I wanted to make a real name for myself as one of the voices of thought leadership in my industry, what would that look like? And I realized that there was things like hiring our production team that were going to expedite that process. This is where doing 365 days of Reels was birthed. Knowing that there was more available, but I wasn't maximizing. There was vehicles for letting people find me, but I wasn't maximizing on them. So we elevated Locked and Loaded, and I took everything off my plate that wasn't in alignment with that. We closed out my highest end mastermind. We closed out places that were distracting me and were not completely on brand with Locked and Loaded and our in-person experiences. I cleaned up my schedule in ways. Because once you have your roots, what do you want? It becomes really clear the things that you're doing on a daily basis that aren't that. It becomes really clear for you what you're allowing to happen in your day-to-day that isn't in alignment with your roots. And it shows up in frustration and boredom. Typically, when you're bored and frustrated, it's a sign that you've outgrown something that you're currently doing. So on the upper right side of your quadrants, I want you to write down some possible vehicles. Is there a business that you could elevate? Is there something that you're naturally good at that you could turn into a business? Are there things with your current company that could be elevated? Is it retreats that you want to run? Do you want to start speaking on stages? Right? Do you want to have a mastermind? Do you want to coach people? Is there a product you want to develop? Is there something that you want to trademark? Like, what is it that would financially be a vehicle for you to have all the stuff that you want? So write down 5 in your top right corner. What could they be? Mine were things like have recurring income in my company, create micro memberships and Locked and Loaded for people to choose from, host an in-person conference. That's happening, Clear to Soar, and have elevated retreats for my mastermind. The next one's in February. These were all heck yes things, and everything that wasn't that had to go. See? Okay, go ahead and give me your 5, if you feel so brave. What are 5 things that could be vehicles for your dreams to come true? Vehicles that would get you from point A to point B. Write them down. Perfect, Sarah. Sarah says 15 in her vault, 25 in her mini vault, 5 private clients plus a wait list. Perfect. I'd love to see 2 more people share what's in your top right. Sarah has been a client with us. I want to say you started in 2020. Isn't that right? Refresh me, Sarah. She's built an over 100K per year brand now. She hit her first 100K year last year. And so she has a vault. She has a mini vault. She has private clients, right? So she's been developing all this stuff, and now it's time to leverage and scale, which is amazing. Some of you might not even have that yet. Some of you don't even have a vault yet. You don't know what a mini vault is. You're like, private clients, like what? Yes, like this is what I help people do. August 7th of 2020. Oh my God, you're coming up on another anniversary. That's so cool. That's so cool. Okay. So we've got what do you really want? And on the top right is some vehicles to get you there. What could be a vehicle to get you there? Let's go bottom left. Bottom left. This one can be hard to look at. This one can be hard to look at. Okay? What do your branches look like in those areas right now? What is your now present reality? If it's that you wanted to lose weight, or you wanted a better relationship, or you wanted more clients, or you wanted to have 30K months, right? Like, what's your now reality, and what does the fruit look like? What is the truth of now? Where are you starting from on your year of magic? This is actually cool to look at because it's kind of like, it's like when people do body transformation and they don't want to take the first day pictures. They want to hide from the first day picture. They don't want to look at the first day picture. They're like, no before pictures. Nobody wants the before picture unless you really believe that you're going to do a transformation. Because if you really believe that you're going to do a massive transformation, you would take the crappiest day one picture in the world. Because you would want to show the truth of where you were and be like, look what I did at the end, right? So don't be afraid of the truth of now, but just what's the truth of now? What's on your branches right now? What does the outward appearance of your life look like? Emotionally, personally, right? Financially, relationally, healthfully. What's it looking like right now? Bottom left corner, just get real with yourself. What's it looking like right now? There's maybe 5% of you who are like, it is sunshine and roses, and that is your reality. And for you, yes, I love it. But it still matters that you do root work, because as much as I am rooted, as much as I know who I am, where I'm going, and I feel like I'm pretty strong emotionally, like grounded, okay? I still did this exercise over the weekend and realized things that could be cut from my everyday operations and things that I wanted to go balls to the wall with and take them to the moon. I actually spent $30,000 this last weekend, $33,000 to be exact, to make my dreams come true in something that I said I wanted 2 years ago, because I got clear. I got clear about what I wanted. I still do this work. Even when things are sunshine and roses, I still ask myself these questions. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Where am I going? What are my vehicles? What does my present now look like? Is there anything about that that's like, oh, that's a before picture? Get real with yourself. Oh, wow, Sarah. That's interesting. Sarah said she's 17 days into a health transformation and she hasn't taken the photo. In the past, she sabotaged when she took it, so she skipped it. That's interesting. I wonder about the belief there. Remember, you're doing some things out of what happened in the past. Yes. Boy, I like Myra. Myra's top right says, micro masterminds for homesteaders or new goat owners doing large public events to grow DS companies, growing her social media community, and that's 3. She's still working on it. I love that. Myra is part of our Locked and Loaded community. She got the birthday pass, which is amazing. Okay. So let's move to bottom right. Bottom right. This is a big one. This is a big one. Bottom right quadrant. I attended a conference, and I'm obsessed with conferences. Just by the way, I've been to dozens and dozens and dozens of in-person conferences. There's not quite anything that can replace either attending a conference in person, which is my top recommendation, or carving the time out in your calendar to attend a conference. I can think of 2 huge ones in the last 5 years that changed my life. One of them was I took a 2-day conference when I lived in the basement of my friend's house. If you guys know my story, when we first moved to Georgia, we rented the basement of our friend's house. Very generous of them. Sucky for me, because I lived in someone's basement when we started our companies, right? And I had heard about, probably on the internet, I heard about a conference that there was no way I was going to go to, but I sat in the theater room of the basement, and I attended this conference, and I did a lot of the work that we're doing for Clear to Soar and things like this, where you're actually like creative goal setting. And I shared this with my mastermind earlier this year. I still have the journal where I wrote down that I wanted to make $30,000 in a month. And I put timelines on it, and I put action steps to it. And within a year, I was making $30,000 months. I had moved out of the basement. I actually moved into a place that had an aesthetic similar to what we live in right now. That's what I wanted. Okay, so attending something even virtually can change your life if you carve the time out to do it, right? So that was a huge brain shifter for me, massive brain shifter, sitting in on a conference virtually. Another one that I went to was last summer in August, and we did an exercise like this. The quadrants, super powerful, super powerful. If you're live, write the quadrants. The quadrants exercise that we're doing right now is a massive reality check for you. What do you actually want? What vehicles could get you there? What's your current reality? And the 4th quadrant, this one's real powerful. 4th quadrant is, ready? 4th quadrant, based on where you are right now versus where you want to be, what would you have to change to become the kind of person who gets it? Your whole top left-hand corner of your paper is all the stuff that you want, right? All the stuff that you want. You got vehicles to get there, potentially. Bottom left is, here's my now reality. Bottom right is, what would I have to change to become the person who gets it all? All of my top left. Courtney said, I knew it, right? This is the thing. What would you have to change? There are things that you do on a daily basis in your personal life. There are places where you're just honestly directionless. You're listless. You're directionless, and it shows up in your results. I sat at a conference, and I played full out. I played full out on doing the quadrants list as if it was going to make me my next $10 million. And there's way more depth to what we're going to do with this at Clear to Soar. But just this is like such the thing to look at. I remember being at this conference, and I wrote things out like I would have to be okay with being massively more visible. I would have to get serious about doing reels. I have to learn how to do reels. I have to be okay with spending money to do video production. I have to be more okay with money, period. I have to own the investments that I make and go after them and 10x them. And there was a lot of personal stuff on there that I was like, man, I would really want to change this. I'm personally doing a body transformation right now. I've been working on it since November. I now drink once a quarter or less. I get better sleep. There's a bunch of stuff that I was like, I have to change this stuff if I'm going to have the success that I asked for. Exactly. You have to do the quadrants to the quadrants. Yes. So what would you have to change? What resources would you have to tap into? And this is where you have to think about, all right, if I was really going to do this in the next 6 months of my life, if I was serious about the next 12 months happening, what would I activate on now? And for some of you, Clear to Solar Conference or Locked and Loaded are probably on your list. If you have this massive goal in the top left and one of your vehicles is business development and you don't have the how-to or the support to get it, hello, that should be in your bottom right. If even after doing these quadrants, you're like, I still feel like I'm not really certain about what I want or who I am or why I'm doing what I'm doing, or there's just a lot in the way, Clear to Solar Conference. Things are going to pop up for you that you've heard about, you've been thinking about, and it's got to go in your bottom right. If you want top left, you got to be able to face bottom right and take aligned action. For your year of magic, the year of magic, remember, it was whatever I touch my hand to will turn to gold, but I had to touch my hand to it. That's called aligned action. Aligned action. The year of magic, whatever you touch your hand to, it turns to gold, means you've got to do quadrant 4. Buy the ticket, get the support, hire the coach, say yes to the thing, and take the action. This level of rootedness is what brings you emotional regulation. This level of rootedness and groundedness, mission, purpose, knowingness, this is the stuff that keeps you regulated when everything comes to knock you off your block. This level of knowingness allows you to say, another day in paradise, when the wind comes and the waves crash and the rain comes down. This level of knowingness and purpose and drive, this is the stuff that gets you up in the morning and allows you to dance in the rain, as they say. This level of inner power, it just knocks circumstances to the side. It gives you the willingness to wake up in the morning and go try again. This is big picture. So with this sheet, this quadrant, I'm just going to ask you, tack it up somewhere where you can see it. If you had a partner for here, you've got your 4 pieces. You've got your list of what you want and where you're going, the vehicles, the now, and what resources it would take for you to get there, right? What are the changes? What are the resources? You've got that piece of paper, okay? Second piece is put it where you can see it. Third piece is have accountability, meaning just tell someone about it. Fourth piece is check in every week and tell them what's happening. This will bring you unusual success. This workshop right here, if you activate on those 4 things, it will bring you unusual success in your year of magic. Yes, Courtney, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Okay, so moving from here, number 1, I want to say thank you so much for being part of this workshop. These 2 days are a micro slice of what Clear to Soar is going to be like. Micro slice. Now, there are people who are like, this was enough. I got my sheet. I got my partner. I'm going to go make moves on it. And for anyone who is feeling that way, that's perfect. It's my gift. We do things like this every single month. But there are people who are like, I like this, and also I want every single step. I do not want a micro slice. I want the whole freaking pie. I want it all. I want step by step. I don't want 10% of the equation. I want 100% of the equation. I don't want step A and B. I want step A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Give it all to me, Xtina. Okay. If you're the second person and you're like, give me the whole freaking kit and caboodle. This was nice. This was a cool 2.5 hours of my life, but I want more. If that's for you, stay. I have 2 offers. The first one, I can say the alphabet really fast, right? I practice with my 3-year-old. All right. Offer 1. If you're live, right? Offer 1. Offer number 1. Offer number 1. Offer number 1 is the Clear to Soar conference. I have a lot of confidence in people because I am the type of person that can hear about a conference, buy a ticket, and be there in 48 hours. I have done this my whole career of personal development. My first conference, oh my God, I love you, Courtney. That's so sweet. My first conference that I ever heard of, I found it inside of a book that I was reading drunk on the beach, and I called the 1-800 number, claimed my ticket, and got on an airplane to California to go to my first ever personal development conference. I believe that there are people that when the time is right, they will change their life. I just believe that about people. I know I did. I have chilies down my shoulders thinking about that. I was a 25-year-old getting wasted on the beach, topless in Miami, reading a self-help book, and there was a conference ticket in the book. I called and I claimed my ticket. I got on the plane and I went. That was in 2011, and that started my journey in this industry. I just believe in people. When you know the time is right and all the stars align, it's like, you're like, yes, this is my season. There are people watching this right now that this is your season. And so I'm going to tell you about the Clear to Soar conference, and it's literally in like 15 days or some crazy number like that. Clear to Soar. It's a 3-day self-development conference in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. This is not a marriage conference, but if you're married, you should bring your person. This is not a relationship conference, but if you have a relationship, you should bring your person. This is not a Christian conference, although if you're a Christian, you should probably be there. This is about self-development. This is not a social media strategy conference, although if you are building a brand on social media, you definitely should be there. It's a self-development conference. During 3 days together, my husband and I and a few of our friends are going to lead you through guided activations to bring you clarity on greater wealth. If you're live, right, greater wealth. We're talking money, and we're talking about wealth identity because money comes from the inside. So we're going to talk about greater wealth. Write it in the chat, greater wealth. We're going to talk about greater power, meaning personal power. If you're live, write personal power, personal power, personal power, and deeper love. Deeper love. Heart-centered entrepreneurship. The heart factor in living an intentional, conscious life. Having a happy heart while you get the life of your dreams. Love. This is a 3-day conference on wealth, power, and love. And we are going to be doing goal mapping, aka blueprinting, around your identity and your future. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to be in this room because you're going to get massive clarity. Most entrepreneurs are hyper busy in their minds and they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing anymore. So you're going to get massive clarity. You're going to leave with a blueprint for the next 5 years or more of your life. And the ability to communicate that with your team and your family. I've never been to a conference like this. I know that this was the conference that I needed. And so this is part of what I create in the world. I reverse engineer what I would have needed to get better results faster, and that's what I give to the world. It's 3 days live in person in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're live, write August 11th through 13th. August 11th through 13th, okay? That's the Clear to Soar conference. There's 2 ticket options. 1, there's the in-person experience. There's VIP tickets still available. It includes a lunch, private lunch with myself, my team, and the other VIP ticket holders. That option is near $3,000 for the ticket. The second option inside of the room is a general admission ticket, and it gives you access in person in the room to do the conference with us for all 3 days for under $1,000. So in person, it's either $3K-ish, a little bit less than, for the VIP, or less than $1,000 to come and be in person in the room. Now, once again, I believe in people's power to make a decision. I heard about a conference earlier this year. I scrolled past it on Instagram. I said to myself, I'm getting in that room. I bought the $1,500 ticket that day. I was at the event 2 days later. I just believe in people that when you know that it's for you, you go. So I'm telling you about the in-person experience because I know that I'm the kind of person that can find out about something and be like, that's for me, I'm going. So we have in-person options. The second way that you could be in the room is virtual. So write down the virtual. Virtual tickets are a flippin' steal. The virtual ticket is $222. That's it. $222. There's a partner pass that gives you and either a business bestie or you and your romantic partner, it gives you the option to attend for $333. So it's like buy one, give one half off. $222 for a single person, or $333 for you and a second person to attend virtually. It gives you not only the 3 days of access, but there's a private group that leads up to the event where we're going to be showing some behind the scenes stuff. It's kind of like an all access pass leading up to the event, building the hype, keeping you in the loop. And you keep replay access for 60 days, whether you're in the room or whether you're virtual. Clear to Soar. If you like this workshop, this is the tiny slice of a huge pie. The huge pie is at the Clear to Soar conference, August 11th, 12th, and 13th. If you're in already, say, I'm in. If you want a ticket, say, I'm about to be in. My team has a $50 off promo code for you. If you want it, message us today. It's good all day long. So $50 off any ticket that you want, message my team. If you're not in yet, say, I'm about to be in. If you're in, say, I'm in. Okay? So that's option one to move forward. The second place that I want to tell you about, aside from Locked and Loaded, which is its own amazing space. Okay? Next. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love all of the I'm in, see you there. Michelle said, I'm about to be in. Are you coming in person or are you doing virtual? Tell me. Courtney said, I'm about to be in. Perfect. Amy's in virtual. Cheryl said, I'm about to be in. Ay. Michelle, there's a couples pass. Yep. Just reach out to my team. We'll get you a link for it. Ay. This is so exciting. Okay. You've heard me talk about, this is the next space. You've heard me talk about something called Locked and Loaded. Locked and Loaded is my mastermind. It is the mastermind. It is the premier space. Again, I created the thing that I felt like I needed. It's heavy on strategy, heavy on energetics. Okay. And it's a 12-month commitment for entrepreneurs to grow their brands, specifically their sales, their marketing, their content, and their social media acumen. The goal of Locked and Loaded is to add $100,000 or more to any business that you have. That's the clear goal of it. It's for serious entrepreneurs only. Doesn't matter if you're at the beginning of your business or if you already make $500,000 to $1 million. It doesn't matter. I can help. We talk about 6 and 7-figure strategies in this space. It's high touch. I'm speaking with these clients at least every week personally. We train twice a week. It's a whole year experience. Now, the thing that I know about success accelerators like masterminds is that it's hard to buy them blind. It's really hard to know what you're getting into until you pay for it. And then once you pay for it, it might not be what you wanted. So I like to sell with high level transparency. If you're live, write high level transparency. My team and I have created an experience for people to have a 24-hour trial of our mastermind so that you can buy with transparency. It gives you 24 hours of access to key pieces of our vault so you can come behind the paywall, which that's what most people won't let you in. Is they're like, you can see it all once you pay for it. It's like, okay. I like to test drive cars before I buy them. I just let me feel the vibes first, okay? So we let you behind the quote unquote paywall and we let you test drive our mastermind. We give you access to key pieces of our vault so that you can come in and see how I train, what the actual strategy, social media pieces, and energetics trainings are like. You can find out if you like me as a trainer, if you like the vibe of what we teach there, okay? And on top of it, because the success acceleration often happens with a lot of laser coaching, right? It's not just watching modules, you want to get coached. We also offer with this a 3-hour pass to do a mastermind with me. So you get the vault for 24 hours and you also get to experience like having a pass at our mastermind. 3 hours where you get to bring in anything that you had questions on. So you watch the vault and you're like, I have questions about this, this, and this. If you're my coach, what would you tell me about this, this, and this? Right? And we mastermind for 3 hours. It's you, me, and a group of people that have what we call the day pass. So here's the thing. Locked and Loaded is the premier thing that I am loving on, serving in, present for in 2023 to 2024. And I have spaces inside there right now. This Saturday, we're doing the day pass. So if you're someone who's dead serious about adding $100,000 to your brand, you're available to be a success accelerator, you've been looking for a mastermind, you want everything from A to Z to grow your brand, but you want to try before you buy, the day pass is probably for you. So if you want to do the day pass, you would like 24 hours of free access to my vault, and you would like a free trial of Mastermind with me this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., I'm going to ask you to write the words day pass in the chat, and that way my team will know to reach out to you. There is an application process because the value of this is over $5,000. For you to come in and actually see all these high-level paid trainings and also to have a Saturday morning with me, it's a $5,000 value. It's yours for free if you want it, but you do have to apply for it to make sure that it's a right fit for you and the rest of the people in the group. So if you want it, that's our second offer. It's completely free. It's called Day Pass. And with that, I am complete. This has been a lovely 2-day workshop. Again, if you have a friend that you think should be here, let them know. For sure, for sure, for sure. And if you had a partner, keep in touch with them. This is your year of magic. Go write it on your bathroom mirror. Love you guys.